guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nikki and today you are in for a treat because I'm going to share with you lots of tips and tricks for those of you that want to make chocolate decorations. And the key concept that I want to share with you is tempered chocolate. If you don't know what that is, then stick around because I'm going to explain everything that you need to know. Now, just a quick note, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, don't forget to click on the icon below and please like this video as well if you find it useful. So, all that aside, let's get started. Generally, we have three types of chocolate: dark chocolate, milk chocolate, and white chocolate. And this is just a combination of our base, which is mainly to do with cacao powder and cacao butter, or cocoa butter, if you will. And as you see, there's an obvious difference in color for our chocolate. And that means, for example, white chocolate has no cacao powder, and you see this in the color. It's very similar to the cacao butter itself. For milk chocolate, you have a wide range of percentage in terms of the cacao powder content. You may find something with 25%, something with 40%. There are so many varieties out there. And the same goes for dark chocolate. It ranges from 45% up to 80% I've seen commercially. The cacao butter in these three chocolate types varies. And that means that melting the chocolate means melting cacao butter. Cocoa butter is a very interesting and complex ingredient as it has 6 types of crystals in its structure. And all of them melt at different temperature points. When you're melting chocolate, you are essentially melting cocoa butter. So we need to make sure that you're melting at the right temperatures. Now this is where we get into the word tempering. Tempering ensures that when you melt the chocolate, you do so at a certain temperature so that you get the good crystals split from the bad crystals. And that is essentially the process. You need to get rid of the bad crystals, the ones that will leave that white cast on the chocolate. So how does this work? So this all sounds very complicated, but it's really not. It's only a process of 3 steps: melting chocolate, cooling it quickly, and melting it to a working point. And I'm going to give you the guidelines for all these 3 different types of chocolate. Of course, they will vary in terms of what temperature to use due to this cacao butter content. Tempering chocolate means being careful about temperatures. And that means, yes, we will need a thermometer. And this is an instant read thermometer. I can just point to the chocolate and I will get an instant read on the screen. I love it. Now, when it comes to working with chocolate, I do prefer using a water bath than using the microwave because I have a better handle at seeing how quickly the temperature is growing. So what you need to bear in mind for a water bath is that you have a bowl that sits comfortably on top of a pot. The pot should be filled with water up to a certain level that does not come into contact with the bottom of the bowl. Also, super important, make sure that the water is in a simmer state and not boiling too abruptly because you don't want any of the water coming into contact with the chocolate. Now for the cooling process, this is where it gets a bit fun, or I think it's quite fun. We're gonna use a marble board. This is great because it's naturally cool. That means when the chocolate comes into contact with the board, it immediately gets this temperature difference and it starts cooling quickly, which is what we want. To cool the chocolate quickly, you want to move it around all of that surface as quickly as possible. And to do that, you need the help of a nice spatula. I have a flat metal spatula here, which I find works best. You can also use a plastic scraper if you like. And that is pretty much it. Once the chocolate cools to that specific temperature, then you go back to your water bath and bring the temperature slightly up to the ideal temperature for working with chocolate. So once you have tempered chocolate, you usually mold it into something or shape it into something. And for shaping, I have always in my cupboard some acetate, which is great to pour the chocolate, shape it into, I don't know, circles, whatever, curls, and that works really well in terms of chocolate molds. There are some silicone ones that you can use, but I actually prefer the polycarbonate ones because I just think they really give a nice finish to your chocolate. So those are the things I would suggest using with your tempered chocolate.